Great morning, holy brothers and sisters, on this terrific Tuesday, the fourth day of Pesach. If you're counting, it's the third day of the Omer. We are on April 3rd and the 18th of Nisan. In the Kitzur Likutei Moharan, today's lesson will be called Burdensome Beginnings. The most important part of anything is its beginning. To explain, all beginnings are difficult. Mechilta b'chodesh 2, since at that time, a person is going from one extreme to the other. And we know that all beginnings we can trace back to the root of every source. Just like in the Torah, if you ever want to know a concept, you go back to the first book and the first chapter, the first sentence, and the first word, and even the first letter. It says Bereshis, which is in the beginning, and we know that means Barashis, the world was created 6,000 years, it will be in existence, and we know that we're coming up to 5778, so we're very, very close to the end. God willing, we should see the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days, even way before that as well. But back to our text, a person's beginning is very difficult, since at that time he's going from one extreme to another. But after he has already made a start and it begins to grow accustomed to whatever he has begun, then the change is not so difficult for him. Accordingly, a person's spiritual work and his awe and fear of God each day all depend on how he began, since each day he must go back to receive strength from the beginning when it was most difficult for him. Therefore, a person must start anew each time, because it might just be that his beginning was not what it should have been, and if so, all of his spiritual work is also lacking perfection, since everything follows after the beginning. Therefore, he must fortify himself and rouse his heart to make a fresh start each time with great fervent enthusiasm and with new determination in the service of God, as if he had not yet started at all, so that his service of God will be what it should be through the impetus and force of his new beginning. Similarly, each time he must entertain the possibility that he has not yet made a proper beginning, and he should determinedly rouse himself to make a fresh start from that point on. So we should try to make the best beginnings that we can from day one, but never lose hope, because we can always put more effort and more focus into what we're doing to start our day anew, as if it's like a new beginning. Each day that we wake up, we're given a new wonderful opportunity. Similarly, every time a person comes to a tzaddik, he must see to it that he comes to him anew, not as he were already with the tzaddik before, and now he's coming for a second time, but rather as if he's coming for the first time. For it is necessary to start each time anew, since the essential thing is the beginning. Another side note, conflict leads to heresy, which in turn keeps people from praying with concentration and feeling. When peace reigns, however, the heresy and the atheism that are in each person's heart are nullified. This is because when there is peace and people sit down together to discuss things, each person can dissuade his friend from wrong opinions and beliefs, and he can remove the heresy and the atheism from his friend's heart. But when there is discord and conflict, people do not sit down together to discuss things so as to induce the other person to realize the truth, and even when they do talk together, they are not really listening to what the other is saying, due to their desire to be victorious in the conflict. Thus, we see that faith primarily depends upon peace. And this was a point that we noted from the Haggadah, which we read this past Pesach. A Rasha, which is called the Wicked One, his question was not in the form of a question at all, but it's a statement. Oh, look at what you're doing, and this is terrible, and this and that. Because when somebody comes to you, even if they're asking a question, but it is a way to antagonize somebody, they don't want to hear the answer. So we have to always listen to make sure that when people are talking, whether they want to hear something or they're just trying to vent and let steam out. But either way, we need somebody in our lives, especially our spouse. We should try to have peace within the home and try to help each other grow, never trying to point a finger, never trying to argue, but just looking at ourselves to see what we could do better to enhance our own relationships. And to merit peace, one must study the codes of Jewish law. Thank you so much for learning together. As always, if you enjoyed this lesson, please feel free to like, comment, share, and borrow. And please God, we'll learn again tomorrow.